Good evening. It is, I forgot what the date was, January 17th, which means we're getting pretty well into our new year of 2018. And hopefully you've stuck with your resolutions, whatever those were for you. Maybe you've stopped them and found new ones by now. But I feel like we need to talk about one resolution tonight, and that's the resolution that I hope we all have endeavored, and that's bringing souls into the church. And beyond that, how we keep those souls in the church once we get them here. Because a lot of the time, we focus so much on getting our coworkers or our friends into the building that we forget once we get them here what we're supposed to do from there. And they slowly start to drift away, and we move on to getting the next person to come to a friends and family day. So I want to follow, not the life, but some key actions of one of the apostles, and that's Peter, because I think he can give us some great insights into how we keep these people in the church. We'll start off in Matthew 4:18. Matthew 4:18. It says, "While walking by the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, 'Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men.' Immediately they left their nets, and they followed him." So as I said before, our first step is just getting them into the building. And it's key that we realize that this is not our job. Of course, it's our job to go out and get the souls and invite them, but it's not our responsibility to make sure they are in the building. God is the one who brings that increase. And that's farther hammered in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6. It says, "I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the growth. So neither he who plants nor he who waters is anything, but only God who gives the growth." We're not void of responsibility in this, but we need to recognize that if we invite them and if they come, all the work we do to keep them here is just God giving the increase through us. And secondly, once we get them here, we need to make sure we're investing in people. If you look in Mark chapter 8, verse 27 now, Mark 8:27, "Jesus went on with his disciples to the villages of Caesarea Philippi, and on the way he asked them, 'Who do people say that I am?' And they told him, 'John the Baptist, and others say Elijah, and others one of the prophets.' And he asked them, 'But who do you say that I am?' Peter answered him, 'You are the Christ,' and he strictly charged them to tell no one about it." If you look through Jesus' entire ministry, especially with Peter, you see him being engaged, him asking them questions. What do you think this means? How do you think this parable applies to you? Asking them questions and even constructively criticizing at times and finding ways to make sure that they're involved and they're sticking with it. When we invite someone in, and even if we get to the point where we baptize them, what are we doing after that? Are we moving on to getting our next check mark of there's 16, 17, 18, 19 baptisms? Or are we focusing on letting God's work through us and bringing those people up in Christ so that they can be stronger workers? We can put as many people as we want through the baptistry, but if we're not training them on how to live after that, we haven't completed even close to all of our job. Jesus, when he was talking with his apostles, I think it's in Hebrews, he was giving them solid food. They started off, when they first started following him, all they could take was some milk, some small liquids, and that's what people are like when they come straight out of our baptistry. We need to be maturing them to where they can stand on their own and do for others what we did for them. And finally, you have to stick with people when they fail. For people who have grown up in the church, it seems a little bit silly when certain people don't understand certain things, when they've never heard of the story of Joseph or something like that. But in John 21:15, it says, "When they finished breakfast, Jesus said to Peter, 'Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?' He said to him, 'Yes, Lord, you know that I love you.' He said to him, 'Feed my lambs.'" This seems a little bit out of place if you don't have the overall context. This was one of Jesus' first appearances where he talked personally to Peter after his resurrection. And if you remember, right before the crucifixion, on the night before, Peter denied Jesus 3 times, which was his biggest mistake of his entire life we have recorded. And instead of Jesus thinking he was high and holy above him, or, well, I know more about it, so I'm not going to deal with you anymore, he comes back to him and asks him 3 times if he loves him and gives him his set of commandments. And beyond that, he still gives him the keys of the kingdom to unlock it. He didn't give up because, well, it was too hard of a project to get the person to be a good Christian. He stuck with him, loved him, and brought him to maturity and solid food. When God brings souls to us in 2018, of course, we need to make sure we're bringing them into the building the best we can and putting them through the baptistry, saving souls. But we need to be careful not to lose the mindset that we need to let these souls mature and help them grow so that they can be productive members of the kingdom as well. Tonight, if you need to start a journey with Christ and want to start moving from that liquid to the solid food for Jesus, or if you have any questions or if you need prayers of any sort, someone would be happy to help you as we stand and sing.